it's just about making the right contacts.
Yeah.
That's where the business comes from. It comes from referrals from satisfied past customers. It comes from referrals from people in the community.
Well, Jim, thank you for coming on the show today. I think your 46 years of commercial real estate experience can bring a lot of value to my viewers. And so thank you for taking the time.
You're most welcome. And I appreciate the opportunity and the honor to be on your show.
Well, thank you. I want to talk about your book. It's Confessions of a Commercial Real Estate Broker, which I'm really going to want to hear about your confessions. And then
Yes.
Daily Lessons Learned from Life and CRE. And so now, when did you put this book out?
2019.
Okay.
That title came from my stepson, who's also CCIM. My wife is SIOR CCIM, kind of a real estate family. And he said, you should put that title on it because then people want to read it. It's not anything, too dark or mysterious, but it's just about the life of a commercial real estate broker, what it's like to be in this business. I'm hoping that it will be an encouragement to those who are thinking about commercial real estate and they just don't know where to start. They want to read my daily confessions about what I learned about commercial real estate, lessons learned. And then, of course, on each day, it's followed by something historical that happened on that date, perhaps a person that was born on that date or a quotation from that person that was made that relates to that subject. So I had a lot of fun writing it. It's been out 4 years. And just last week, my second book came out, which was a sequel to this first book. It's called Dreams, Challenges, and Inspirations, Daily Messages About Life and CRE.
All right.
And it is also a 366 book. There are 122 dreams, 122 challenges, 122 inspirations, the things I dream about, the things that challenge me, and the things that inspire me. And I had a lot of fun with that one as well. Actually, I like it a little better than the first one. Each day is followed by 3 or 4 quotes from persons from antiquity to present day, famous people that made a quote that's exactly what my subject is for that day. And so I've just tried to use my history. It's just about the things that I've learned over the last 46 years about real estate and about life, because it's as much about life. Commercial real estate is as much about life as it is about anything, because it's full of disappointments. It's full of ups and downs. There's the great times and there's the really bad times. There's the struggles. And I tell new people the 2 main words to learn when you get into commercial real estate are trust and perseverance. You have to develop trust with your clients, customers, and you have to persevere. No matter how hard it gets, go in with the attitude, I will not quit. I will not quit. No matter what, I'm going to make it. And if you have that kind of attitude, eventually good things are going to happen.
Yeah, I agree. And it's, in 46 years, I mean, the number of cycles you've seen in this industry, there's a lot to be learned from this. And for those of you watching, if you have questions for Jim, put them in the comments and I'll make sure that Jim sees them. I'll get them to him. And I'm also going to put the link to both of his books down below as well. And Jim, I'll put them up on my website. I have
Thank you.
JoeKillinger.co. Especially that last book. I was not aware of that last book, so I am going to make sure I get hold of that and take a read, because that sounds very interesting. We got go ahead.
I don't want to be one and done. I decided that when I wrote the first book, and I'm working on the third book of that sequence or those books. It will not be 366, but what it's going to be titled, just to give you a little background, it's going to be called Education, Experience, and Expertise, 3 Steps to Success for a Commercial Real Estate Broker. Because first of all, we have to have the education. Just like if you were a doctor, we need to treat this as any profession that requires a great amount of study and learning. And then once you have that, how do I get that experience? And once I have that experience, how do I become known in my market as the expert in commercial real estate?
Yeah. That's a lot of what this channel focuses on, is because I think a lot of firms, we really lack the education aspect to it. I mean, I'll tell you a little bit about, so I have Commercial Brokers International in Los Angeles. We're an independent full service real estate firm. Now we do training every morning at 8:15. So our agents are in the office, the new agents are in the office, 8:15, and they're learning. And then at 5 o'clock every day, we sit down with each one of the new agents and say, okay, well, we do it all in one room. Everybody's together. And we do this as a project together. We go through, okay, what happened today and what can we look forward to tomorrow? So how many calls did you do? Did you post some digital marketing? Did you do an email blast? What was the result of all that? And if somebody has questions, it really benefits them. And it takes a lot of our agents from being somebody that's, fairly new in the industry to, the education they get the first couple of months. It's actually, it's very powerful. And, our experienced agents, if they're around, will sometimes sit in and give their 2 cents. And, I really love that education aspect of it. And I see it makes a big difference. We just started doing that like 5 years ago. And, the more experienced agents are coming in and go, man, I wish you'd have done this when I was starting, because it would have helped. I would have made money so much faster. And so,
oh, maybe that's the third word, is accountability.
Yeah. Yeah. Self-accountability. That I just did a video the other day, and it was talking about self-accountability. And it's, a lady mentioned, she goes, what I do is I write down everything that I need to get done that day. And at the end of the day, I look at it and I hold myself accountable. If I didn't get it done, why didn't I get it done? If I got to push it off to tomorrow, because now I've pushed something onto my load for tomorrow. And self-accountability is a big thing. But yeah, the education is something that we really focus on. And that's why I really took a liking, because I Googled, I think I just Googled top books for commercial real estate agents, and yours was up there. So that's why I reached out to you, want to get you on. So I'm glad that we're able to connect on this. We're in kind of and I know you and I have both been through this before, but I want to get your 2 cents on where we're at in the marketplace right now. If you're a newer agent coming into this, what do you think we should be really focusing on right
now? Contacts, talking to people, going out, knocking on doors, not being afraid to network, to get out and meet people, making lists of the predominant investors, users in your marketplace. You've got to know people. This is a people business. If they know you and trust you, they will do business with you. So as a new person, it's critical that you establish those contacts as quickly as possible.
Yeah. I think there's one thing, and I'm looking for my phone. I don't even know where it's at. Right here it is. We get on these things, every day, and we think, oh, I'll just do some posts, and, people are going to see it and they're going to come flooding in. And you know what? I think we all know that's not the case, right? You've got to go out and build a relationship. I think somebody newer in this industry, you've got to build a relationship, and, people are going to want to work with you. But as you're building that relationship, market knowledge, I think, that's something that I talk to a lot of newer agents. I do a lot of mentoring, and I've talked to people who've been in the business for 6 months, a year. And I'm a little shocked that they don't know more about their marketplace than they do about how many calls they've made that day. Listen, it doesn't do you a whole lot of good to be doing a ton of calls if you're an investment broker and you're calling on an area and you don't know what's on the market there, how the average days on market, average price per square foot. What are you actually talking about? And so I think it's, education in your marketplace is also something that's very big.
And that's ongoing. Every morning, I get a list of the new listings and updates and pendings from the Commercial Information Exchange, CIE, that we have here in the Louisville, Kentucky market. And I'm part of the MSA of Louisville, Kentucky. Although I'm in southern Indiana, we look straight across the river at downtown Louisville. We have an MSA of about 1.3 million. We're not the biggest, but we're not the smallest. But every day I look at those listings. I look at those new listings. What are they? How much are they? You have to constantly be updating yourself. And then on top of that, I drive the market, because that's what our clients will do. That's what our customers will do. The thing that they're going to do, they're going to drive the market, and they're going to look for signs. And that's one of the first things I tell new associates.
Yeah.
Go and get listings if you can. And I hate to say it this way, but even if they're overpriced, getting your sign at a good location, a good corner, a good commercial location is worth a lot, because people are going to drive the market and they call off the signs. It just happens.
Yeah. There's a guy that got started here in LA, and he's huge now, but when he started, he had his signs and he paid people that had buildings in the market that he wanted to be in just to put his sign up there. And he goes, "You won't get any calls." He goes, "I'm not, I'll make sure that nobody's not, I'm just he focused on leasing in the beginning. Now he does investment, he does everything, but he paid people a few $100s a month just to have his sign on the side of their building. And it worked. He'd put like 5 or 10 signs out, and the phone started ringing. Now, he was a little bit of a shyster in that he would never return a broker call, but and that hasn't changed, by the way. But
well, maybe that's maybe that is the fourth word, is integrity.
Yeah.
We have to have just complete integrity in all we do. And that means working with other brokers and establishing relationships with them. Some of my best friends now are other brokers, and I try my best to work with them and work with them in a fair way in all things that I do. Being an SIOR, we try to agree to a higher standard, a moral, ethical standard in our practices, and to keep that. Also, the CCIM is the same way. I think the more integrity you have, the better your business will be over the long run.
Yeah, I agree. We just had a situation with an agent this morning at another company that was, a little underhanded what they were trying to pull, and that goes a long way. You've got to really focus on and what it means, and focus on your community and building your community. And so now let's say, we've been in business for a few years, Jim, and we're thinking about, what, I'm still doing this, I'm still in the, 1,200, 1,500 square foot deal for a lease, or, a few hundred thousand on an investment sale. I want to get to that next level where I'm doing, 15, 20,000 square feet, or, 2 to 5 million investment sales. How do I get to that next level? Because I think that is something that is just as hard as getting when you first get started in the business. I think getting to that next level. And I see a lot of people that have been in business a long time that are still doing the same size deals they've done for the last several years. They can't make that evolve into the next level. What are your thoughts on how to do that?
Well, you've got to knock doors. If you're an industrial person, you need to knock doors in industrial parks. You need to belong to the organizations like the group I just came from, that had a Christmas get together with the top influencers, the politicians, the people in the marketplace. Get to know the mayors, get to know the city council people, commissioners, get to know these people. In my case, something that's really helped me is being on some of the county boards by appointment, which has really helped. But you got to know the decision makers, the people that are doing deals. That's how you increase. Now, sometimes when you do business with these folks, you've got to do the smaller deals in order to get the bigger deals, because they may own a shopping center and they want you to lease 1,500 square feet. But maybe you, at some point, you're going to get the chance to sell that shopping center. But if you don't do the smaller deals, sometimes you cannot get the bigger deals. But it's all about who you know. Everything in life is about who you know, and to be known. To be known as that expert in your market. And the way that you do that, a number of ways. You write columns in the newspaper. You do podcasts. You do like you're doing. You get out there. You send email blast. One lesson I've learned is when you get a listing, make sure you knock on the doors of all of the commercial users in that neighborhood, as many as you can, because a lot of times that's where your buyer is going to come from.
Commercial real estate is such a touch business. I want to, especially the older generation that's been in the business a while, they want to see you in person. And, you're not going to get them on Instagram. You're going to get them by going out and talking to them and meeting them in person, and still grabbing a coffee. that is something that I think we kind of got away with. I think a lot of us do the pandemic, but I'm seeing it very quickly go back to where everybody's like getting back out. I mean, the number of holiday parties in 2023, this video will be out in early January, so I got to be careful. It's the number of holiday parties has been astronomical. And so, it seems like we're going back to being a little bit more in touch.
Well, that is it. I think you've got to make the right contacts with the movers and shakers, the people of influence in your community. Some of them are not wealthy. Some of them just have influence, like the mayors and the council people and such. Now, you just got to know the right people. I don't know how else to say that.
No, you're exactly right. And, getting on and finding the right tools. I mean, I was talking to an agent, been in retail real estate here in LA for 4 years. And I said, she goes, I'm in this market, there's nobody really looking. I said, well, how are you finding out? And she has never heard of Retail Lease Track. And I'm like, well, that tells you who's wanting to come into your area. She had no idea. And I'm like, okay, you've got to know the tools that are available to you out there. So,
is she involved in it? Is she involved in ICSC, the International Council of Shopping Centers?
No, she's with a bigger firm, and they just kind of, I think the bigger guys go to it. She's more of a junior, and she just didn't even know about this stuff. And I'm like, well, it's tough to build your business if you don't know the tools that are available to you. And there's a ton of tools available to you. You got to put a lot of them on. Go ahead.
It's also knowing the associations that fit with whatever your specialty is. SIOR, Society of Industrial and Office Realtors. CCIM is pretty much generalist. ICSC, great for retail. So there, NAIOP, National Association of Industrial and Office Parks, great contacts for industrial. So if you know who these groups are, your state groups, your local groups, your national groups, become involved with them, get to know the people. And because the other thing about that is referrals. We do get some great referrals from brokers we've met around the country. And even last year, my wife and I think I said SIOR CCIM, we went to Ireland this coming summer 2024, and we're going to Germany. So for the SIOR World Conference, it's just about making the right contacts. That's where the business comes from. It comes from referrals from satisfied past customers. It comes from referrals from people in the community that say, I got one last week, by the way, where a guy said he's an attorney, and he told, I think it was his brother-in-law, he said, call Jim Baker. He'll get that deal done for you.
It's those networking groups and those groups are powerful for bringing in business.
Whenever you meet someone and they're a potential investor or end user of commercial real estate, make sure you capture their email address and you start what I call my email blast list. It keeps growing, getting bigger and bigger. And I make sure I don't overdo it, but maybe once or twice a month. Twice a month would be too much sometimes. Once a month, I send them a new listing that I have, maybe some information about others. And if you're a new person and you don't have one, a listing that is, you can have somebody else's in the office say, can I promote your listing to my email blast list? You've got to start doing that. That's, for me, the technology that works. Because almost every time I do this, I get several calls.
Our agents do that. They'll promote each other's listings on their social media and even in emails. And you're right on point. That does work. But well, Jim, I know you stepped out of your party, so I'll let you get back to it. Thank you very much. So thank you for taking the time. Okay.
Thank you.
For those of you watching, make sure that you give us a like if you liked what Jim had to say, and if you could, or you haven't so far, make sure you subscribe.